moderator ada pemutaran video. Oke. Ya, di sesi pamit ini topik yang akan kita angkat adalah soal dunia Indonesia ya Pak ya. Pak Peter juga akan cerita nanti bagaimana soal branding dengan pengalaman di Java Jazz. Gitu Pak Peter. Mungkin kita langsung saja Pak.
Baik, terima kasih Mbak Rika. Terhormat Bapak Duta Besar, Bapak Wakil Duta Besar, Ibu Duta Besar, juga staf KBRI, para mahasiswa yang saya banggakan, yang saya cintai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Terima kasih diberikan kesempatan. Memang saya sudah merasa bahwa saya biasa dikerjain oleh Pak Dubes. Kenapa mesti yang terakhir? Saya mau udah capek, suruh jam 8. Nggak dari siang aja gitu, jam 2, jam 3 kan. Tapi ya, terima kasih bahwa saya cukup bangga melihat mahasiswa di sini bahwa kalau di Jakarta kita kalau ada seminar itu jam 9 penuh, jam setengah 11 tinggal 5 orang. Sudah makan jarang ada orang. Dan saya rasa kosong. Tapi saya melihat di sini mahasiswa tekun mengikuti, dan saya cukup bangga melihat bahwa dedikasi Anda sekalian di sini untuk mendengarkan omong kosong saya nanti. Nah begini, saya diminta oleh Pak Dino untuk berbicara mengenai, saya keluarin dulu ya catatan saya karena udah umur, tapi masih pakai teknologi. Kalau bisa ketemu. Anyway. Pertama-tama saya ingin menyampaikan bahwa saya mulai sebagai seorang pengusaha. Tapi sebelum pengusaha saya bekerja di Citibank. Tapi sebelumnya lagi saya bekerja di Shell. I don't have a formal education. I do have some education, not very formal, but it's quite formal. Because I went from one school to another and I continue to fail. But I did get some degrees, and basically I did not excel in school at all. My parents gave up on me. They sent me to Europe. They gave me $200, a one-way ticket. And no visa. I think my mother was glad when she put me on the plane. She said, "You find out yourself now because I can't handle you no more." And there I was. I arrived in Holland. I started as a waiter. Then I became a taxi driver. And then I started to become a very classy di Holland Amerika Line. I did that for 6 months, and I continued to write home. I'm in New York now. I didn't tell them I was. Saya tidak bilang saya classy, tapi I said I'm in New York. My mother said, "Wow, this guy is good." She didn't know that I was actually working on the Holland America Line as a waiter. No, actually I was an assistant first class steward, and I made a lot of money because they were all old people, and I took really care of them. Old people, and I took care of them. I was really kind, and I made a lot of money because they tip well. Old people tip well. And especially it was the first class, these were all rich people. So, if they want a glass of water, I bring them orange juice. If they want orange juice, I bring them wine. So I serviced them, and I made a lot of money actually. And from there on, I started to apply for a visa. I did not get a visa. The Dutch didn't want me there either. So I went to Germany, dan saya kerja di galangan kapal in Bremenhaven. And all of a sudden, I was writing to some institution, and all of a sudden I got a scholarship from Shell. And and I really worked for Shell as in a computer center. And when the Yom Kippur War broke out, I realized that I was a little bit smarter than I thought I was. Because I was one of the 8 people in Shell that was working for Shell to determine what the reserve or oil was in the world at the time of the Yom Kippur War. And in 1970, I wrote my wife, or my ex-girlfriend, which is my wife now. I wrote a letter, I said, I have a job, no problem, can we get married? I was 20 years old. And she said, yeah, let's get married. I said, oh my God. So I went home, they were on Batak. So I was afraid that she had to, orang Batak kan suka dijodoh. Ya saya takut dia dijodohin sama orang lain. So I went home and I got married to my wife when I was 21 years old. And she was 21 years old. And she's still my wife today. And we are married to... But in between she had a lot of hardship. But no. I'm 42 years, happily married. I have 2 kids, I have 5 grandchildren. My oldest granddaughter is 14 years old. So I'm a happy man until I met John Riyadi. Anyway, in 1974 I went back to Indonesia. I got a job from Alex Franz, somebody that I admire and I thank my life to, because he put me in Citibank and I became an assistant vice president in 1.5 years. And in 1978 they sent me to New York, and in 1980 I moved to American Express. And at the age of 32 years, I couldn't believe it myself. I was the head of American Express Bank for the whole of Asia at the age of 32. I had Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia, Papua under my supervision. And I was 33 years old. And I had Americans working for me who were 45, 46-year-old. Can you imagine how difficult that was? They say, what is this 32-year-old kid running the bank and we need to report to the guy? Very difficult to have Americans to work for you. But I said, I don't care, as long as I know more than they do. But I was lucky because I was trained by Shell in IT. And I write, at that time, I write Samba, Fortran, COBOL, Alcohol, Safari, Mach 4. I write most of the languages. So I became the head of American Express, and the Americans in American Express all of a sudden realized that I knew a little bit more than they do. And of course, I sold myself well. I bluffed. And bluff is the name of the game. Bluff is the name of the game. You can be educated, you can be the smartest guy in town. If you don't bluff, you're nowhere. Okay? So, when I mean bluff, don't take it literally. I mean, don't go bark. Just, and just show them that you know something. Argue with them. And that is probably how I survived. In 1985, I started to work for Bambang Triatmojo, the son of President Suharto in Bimantara. And basically, at that point in time, I said, why should I work for the son of the president? But he paid me a big amount of money for me to pay off my bank loan with American Express. I had a big bank loan because I had a house in Palo Alto. And he paid my bank loan, and I said, if this is the son of the president, who's very powerful, he just need to pick up the phone and he get things done. Why should he hire me and pay me such a big salary? So I realized that this guy was serious. Bambang Triatmojo was a very serious person. And if people say to me, are you a crony of Suharto? Absolutely. I'm a crony of President Suharto all the way. All the way. And I like him. But I'm never corrupt. I never stole. I never deal with government institution because of my background at American Express. And basically, I dealt with companies like, and I'm sorry, if I sound obnoxious, please tell me, I'll stop. Okay? But I'm telling you, what my experience is. So basically, I dealt with companies like Mercedes-Benz, Nestle, Ferrostal, Marubeni, Itochu, Toyomenka, Mitsubishi. Those are the companies I deal with. And I said to Bambang, if I'm going to work for you, I will not deal with government. And I will not deal with facilities. And I don't want to trade in gas. I don't want to trade in oil. I just want to deal with multinational companies. And you know what? After President Suharto lost his power, I'm okay. Because I forgot to steal. Literally, I forgot to steal. I see all these people who stole money are becoming so rich, they live in Singapore like kings. And they stole a lot of money, but I did not steal money. And I regret that in fact, I don't. Because I'm a happy man, and every president for me is a good president. I think Suharto was a good president. I think Pak Habibie was a good president at that time. I think Megawati was a good president. I think Gus Dur is a good president. I think SBY is a good president. When they are no president no more, they are okay. They're not so good, because they're no more president. I'm a businessman. But I think they're all good, okay? Because otherwise they will not become presidents because they're good. So for me as a businessman, I need to play ball with the government, okay? I don't need to be their bag carrier, but I need to play ball. I need to understand what they mean. I need to do and be part of society and business to build. So I built. What did I build? I built. And I'm just going to tell you this, okay? Because I want you to, maybe it will inspire you, maybe not. Maybe you will think, this man talks too much, but it's okay. I built the Grand Hyatt. I built Chandra Asri Petrochemical. I built Indo-Fission, RCTI, SCTV. And I wasn't even a shareholder, that's what people think. I was a very tiny shareholder. I only owned like between 5 to 10% of the company. And when I built the company, they gave me shares. But everybody know that he's the guy who made RCTI. He owns RCTI. I liked it, They all thought I owned RCTI. What the hell? I'm not going to tell them I didn't own it. I own it. Open the door for me. So everybody started to open the door for me. I didn't let people know that I only own 10% of the company. But that's okay. I like it. So basically, but these people, all these businessmen like Prayogo Pangestu, Anthony Salim, they paid me well. They paid me well as a professional. So I'm basically a professional, and I got paid well by these entrepreneurs. And I did my job. I made them happy by doing my job, by making money for them. And when I left, I have not left not even a single cent of bank debt. I was not part of the restructurisasi. I was not part of pengampunan pinjaman, etc. Because what I did is basically on my education and my professionalism to look at, make sure if I borrow that you can pay it back. But of course there are always situations where things are force majeure. Okay, when things happen beyond your expectation. So that's basically, I've decided, and then I started a company which is, at that point in time, was called Ani Tirta, Indonesia, together with John Riali's father, and it was a cable TV company, which has become Cablevision, and later on it is now First Media. I was retired until I met this man again. I said, can you help? I said, the heck is this done? I'm retired. No. Please help us. Let's try to revive the company again. And with John together and with his father, we revived the company. First Media is today a 5 trillion rupiah company. And we have investors coming in big time. And we are closing the deal in probably the next 3 weeks. And I can manage companies. What I cannot do is to monetize on what I built. And that was my problem, I can build the company, and then you need to bring it public, and then you need to monetize the company, and that is where my weakness is. But nobody is perfect, right? So I have other people to do it. James Riari, his father, is very good in monetizing things, building things, selling things, and monetizing things. So basically, that is my, and I'm happily retired again, as I said, until I met John, and right now but I told John and his father, I'll do it for 2 years, and then I want to retire again because I want to play golf. But in 1994, I opened a club which is called Jams. It's a jazz club because jazz is my passion, and I'm basically a failed musician because I started to play piano when I was 8 years old. My parents went bankrupt when I was 9 years old, and the first thing that they sold was my piano. Sad, isn't it? But the first money that I made when I came back from my cruise trip was I bought my first piano. Okay, but then it was too late. Udah mulai kaku, udah nggak bisa. You have to start piano when you're 8 years old, 7 years old. Anyway, I started my club. It went bankrupt because in the club business, it's really moms and pops business. You need to be on top of it. Especially in Indonesia, when you go in and you open a club, and anybody plans to open a club, be there 24 hours. Because in Indonesia, when you open a club and you have whiskey, the waiters bring their own bottle of whiskey, and if anybody order whiskey, they give it from their own whiskey, and they take the money. Perusahaan nggak dapat uang. Why? They needed money, so I closed the club. But then my daughter Devi said, "If you want to close the club, let's, I like music. Why don't you do Java Jazz?" I said, "I'm too old for this." She said, "I do it," and she's basically the founder of Java Jazz, not me. But I helped her out. And he said, "Tolong Devi to set up Java Jazz." And by the way, the biggest bombing actually happened in New York. You're becoming emotional. No. I said, it's okay, don't worry. Don't come to my country full of terrorism. Full of extreme Muslims. Don't come. But I tell you, don't send your kids to Columbine. That's where kids kill each other. So, I use this reverse psychology. He said, don't get so emotional about this. No, you don't want to come, don't come. Okay, we come. Finally, 5 or 6 artists came up, and we had take 6. Anybody heard about take 6? So they come and take 6, they sing gospel songs. And all of a sudden, take 6 were singing, and they saw these girls with jilbabs singing their songs. And they said, I thought Indonesia was an extreme country. Well, I don't know. What do you think now? I don't think it is. Well, don't watch CNN no more. You watch CNN,